The Coaching is Overrated Gold trophy in Shadow Warrior 3 is awarded for unlocking all of the skills in the game, which you do by completing a list of in-game challenges that reward you with orbs to spend on the unlocks, and you can also find a handful of them in the levels themselves. The challenges, however, are the main focus of this trophy, but they are not the most bullshit part of the trophy.
That one bullshit PlayStation trophy.
Because, for the most part, the challenges are all easy to farm once you realise that the big open area battles you'll often find yourself in only end once you defeat all of the bigger godlike enemies, so you can then just pretty much really easily just keep one of those alive and farm whatever challenge you need on the smaller respawning enemies that populate the arena. Whether you need to kill X amount with X weapon type, burn enemies, freeze enemies, push enemies off a cliff, or even the trophy for pushing them into spikes, they are all easily farmed within any open area fight by doing this method. You can pretty much just endlessly fight these smaller enemies, provided you keep one god enemy alive, and then once you've got whatever you need, or maybe you've just been doing it for 20 minutes and you're bored now, you can just kill that enemy and then move on. So, what makes it bullshit? Well, it's the fact that the game is known to crash, and when it does crash, it has a very likely chance that it will wipe your save files. Man, this is really shitty. While the game has been updated so it's more stable now than ever before, having crashes that corrupt saves is bullshit, and it shouldn't happen, full stop. Thankfully I knew about this going in, so I was backing up my save every time I completed a level, but fucking hell, if it would have crashed on me and wiped my save, I would have been really pissed off. Another problem is, or maybe it was that originally there was no chapter select or new game plus in the game. Fuck me, can you believe that? Jesus, what were they thinking there? So you used to have to do all of these challenges and find all of the orbs in a single run to get all of the upgrades, which is just fucking criminal. How stupid are they? Now, I'm guessing people who brought this game when it first came out did an awful lot of complaining, because they did eventually release a patch that included a new game plus as well as a chapter select. So now the trophy is more fair and easier than it originally was. But another bullshit thing for me was that you can't fully upgrade everything until partway through the final level, because you only get enough orbs after getting all of those last ones in the final level. Even if you've done all the challenges and got all the orbs from those, you won't have enough to upgrade everything until you play that final level and pick up the last few orbs scattered around the level in that. So you only would have gotten a very small part of the game to play through at 100% strength and power and abilities and weapon damage and everything.
Who wants some?
But what's the point of that? I'm right at the end of the fucking game now, it don't matter. Why do games do that, for fuck's sake? I mean, before New Game Plus, that would have been it. A few minutes in the very last level is all you got to experience the character at their maximum. I mean, that, for me, is just bullshit. As far as the orbs that you need to collect in the levels go, most of those are pretty easy to find, often just slightly off of the beaten path. There was none in the game that I thought were overly bullshit that no one would ever think to look for in that area, so those were okay. But in terms of the orbs you get from the challenges, well, in total there are 19 challenges to complete, with ones like Blade Master for getting 100 kills with the sword and Bullseye for getting 25 headshots using the Outlaw pistol will likely unlock naturally as you play through the game, so you won't really have to worry too much about them, because you'll more than likely just get them anyway. There are others that are a little bit more specific or tricky that can be easily farmed in any given area, as most of them will all contain the same things, such as spikes, barrels and edges for you to push people off, etc. The ones that I had to sort of work towards in certain areas were the dodge this challenge for getting fire barrel kills, the debuffed challenge for getting 50 enemies killed by electrical ice barrels. So this just meant I had to stay in an area where I knew there was a couple of barrels on the floor and just kill enemies with those. Then if you wait around in the area long enough while not killing the god enemy, the barrels will eventually respawn, so you can just go and stand by them, wait for some of the smaller enemies to come at you, and then just kill them all with the barrel again, and then just rinse and repeat that until you've got the challenge complete. The run and gun challenge, which required you to kill 10 enemies after a raw one, was another one that I sort of had to deliberately go for, because I wasn't really doing too much of the wall running. I was just mainly just jumping, double jumping, and then using the dodge to sort of dash in the air. I didn't really wall run around the areas when I was having fights, so that was one that I did have to just deliberately go for. There was also another one called target practice, which required you to kill enemies floating on balloons before they landed, and I thought this meant that you had to just shoot out the balloon to make them fall to their deaths, but you actually needed to actually shoot the person themselves and kill them outright, which I think is a bit bullshit, because really it should just be blowing up the balloon, but whatever. In fact, to be honest, there was only really 2 challenges that I felt were really awkward and that you would definitely have to keep in mind and work towards throughout your playthrough, and those were the Mr. Doctor challenge for healing for a total of 5000 HP, and the God Tools Sensei challenge for getting 100 kills using the God Tools. So these tools are the weapons that you can steal from a God enemy, those bigger enemies that often spawn in during a battle, that do a lot of damage, and if you were to kill one of them using a special finisher move, which you can only do when you've filled up your special meter, which you do by collecting yellow orbs that drop off of dead enemies. Once you do that, you can press L1 and R1 at the same time, and it does this special finisher animation, showing your character brutally murdering the god and stealing its weapon. Now, with the tool in hand, you need to get as many kills with it as possible before the time runs out and the weapon is used up. And usually I'd get about 5 to 10 per run if I was lucky, but sometimes I'd spend an entire fight slowly building up the special meter by getting all the yellow orbs, only to kill a god and get a crap tool that didn't really get me to kill many enemies at all, or the god that I killed happened to be the last enemy, so when I got the tool there was no one around in the area to kill because the fight was over. Despite that, I still unlocked it a few levels before the end of the game, so it wasn't too bad. But the one that will likely cause you problems is the Mr. Doctor challenge for healing, as this one can actually glitch out and either reset the counter entirely or freeze it so that it no longer goes up even if you pick up health and heal. Thankfully, level restarts will fix this issue, but it's still fucking annoying to have to replay a level despite its short length to get this stupid challenge to start tracking and working again. So yeah, this for me is a bullshit trophy that was actually patched to its credit to make it slightly less bullshit, but I still feel the stench of bullshit is still coming off this trophy in my opinion. And thankfully, none of the challenges or collectible orbs glitched out in my playthrough, but I know others haven't been as lucky as me. So that is why the Coaching is Overrated Gold Trophy in Shadow Warrior 3 for obtaining all the upgrades gets a bullshit trophy rating of...
Alright, here we go. Let's go!
Shit.